After toiling in the underworld for 300 years, I finally earned enough merit to be reincarnated. Then the king of hell got drunk. Instead of sending me back as a human, he accidentally dropped me into the animal realm, where I was reborn as a plump orange cat belonging to the Sterlings, one of the wealthiest families in Evermont. Feeling guilty, the king of hell compensated me with a 100-year lifespan and one bizarre bonus. I could understand babies since I was stuck there. Anyway, I embraced the easy life growing up alongside Victoria Sterling, the Sterling's spoiled young heiress. Over the years, she became my devoted meal ticket, and I became an irreplaceable member of her family. On the day she gave birth, I lounged outside the delivery room happily crunching on my imported freeze-dried treats. A panicked baby voice suddenly echoed in my head. Wah, I don't want them to take me away. My scumbag father is swapping me with his illegitimate daughter. I don't want to end up in an orphanage. I don't want to leave mommy. Before I could process that, another baby's voice rang out sinisterly. Once I become the real heiress, the first thing I'll do is poison that woman and that fat cat. I froze mid-bite. Every hair on my body stood on end. Meow. You really picked the wrong cat to mess with. Anyone who dares lay a finger on the girl I raised is about to learn a very painful lesson. With one powerful kick of my hind legs, I launched myself like a furry cannonball straight toward the delivery room. The doors to the VIP delivery suite burst open as I slammed into them. I landed on all fours without missing a beat, a low rumble vibrating in my throat as my sharp gaze swept across the room. Propped weakly against the hospital bed was Victoria Sterling, eldest daughter of the Sterling family, the girl I'd protected for the past 12 years. Her face was pale, her forehead clammy with sweat as she struggled to catch her breath. Standing beside her was her husband, Ethan Caldwell, cradling a baby girl in his arms. You did great, sweetheart. Look at our daughter. She has your eyes. His voice was so gentle, it practically dripped with affection, his eyes glistening with emotion. Beside the bed stood Victoria's best friend of 8 years, Cassandra Brooks, dabbing away Victoria's sweat with a tissue. She smiled warmly. Victoria, your dream finally came true. She's practically your twin. She's going to grow into a heartbreaker just like her mom. Victoria gazed lovingly at the baby, her eyes overflowing with the tenderness of a new mother. Her trembling hand slowly reached out, eager to stroke her daughter's tiny cheek. Then the vicious baby voice echoed through my mind again. Touch me. Don't you dare touch me, you idiot. Once I grow up, I'll pull your oxygen tube and transfer every last penny of your multi-billion-dollar fortune to my mom. Every strand of fur on my body bristled upright, and my tail puffed out like a bottle brush. This little brat looked perfectly innocent in Ethan's arms, but inside, she was pure venom. Someone please save me. It's so dark, so cold. Something's stabbing my back. It hurts. I whipped my head toward the voice. The weak cries were coming from the corner of the room where a stainless steel cart overflowing with medical waste stood. Stuffed into the bottom shelf was a bulging black garbage bag. The voice was coming from inside it. Inside that bag was the real Sterling heiress. I'd guarded her for the past 10 months, purring to her through her mother's belly every single day. My claws scraped across the tile floor with a harsh screech. Damn it, you've been living off the Sterlings, and now you have the nerve to steal their daughter? You're about to find out why cats have claws. I sprang over the hospital bed and launched myself at the black plastic bag. Rape. My claws tore straight through the outer layer. The cat's gone crazy. Martha Douglas, one of the maternity attendants, shrieked and stumbled backward. Ethan's expression changed instantly. Instinctively, he hugged the fake heiress tighter and retreated. Victoria, what's gotten into Marmalade? Isn't he always the sweetest cat? Get him out of here before he scratches the baby. Sandra hurried in front of the hospital bed, putting herself between Victoria and me. Victoria, cats are covered in germs. Did he eat something filthy outside? Maybe he's gone feral from the stress. Security. Somebody get this crazy cat out of here. 2 security guards rushed into the room and reached for the loose skin at the back of my neck. I twisted away with feline agility and slashed at them with a backhand swipe. Hiss! One guard cried out in pain, jerking his hand back. I planted myself squarely on top of the garbage bag, a deep, threatening growl rumbling from my chest. Anyone who touched this bag was getting their throat ripped out. Cat. God. Did you come to save me? I can't breathe. The tiny voice was growing weaker. I frantically clawed at the opening, trying to bite through the knot sealing the bag shut. Stop. Victoria's cold voice suddenly rang through the room. Ignoring her exhaustion, she braced herself against the bed and forced herself upright. Her gaze swept past everyone before locking onto me. Marmalade has been with me for 12 years. He has never lashed out without a reason. He's trying to get into that bag. Her gaze slowly shifted to the torn black garbage bag. What is inside it, Victoria? Don't worry about it. Marmalade must have been startled. Ethan reacted instantly. He handed the baby to the nanny before striding to Victoria's bedside, deliberately blocking her view. You just gave birth. You're exhausted and the last thing you need is more stress. I'll have Martha wheel this medical waste out, then call a vet to check on Marmalade. His words sounded perfectly reasonable. His face the picture of a loving husband. Cassandra immediately chimed in, walking toward the cart. That's right, Victoria. The delivery room still smells like blood. It's not good for you or the baby. I'll throw this bag away so Marmalade stops obsessing over it. She reached for the black garbage bag. The moment I saw her hand stretching toward it, fury exploded inside me. You conniving little snake. You've been freeloading off the Sterling family under the guise of being Victoria's best friend for years. Now you're trying to steal the Sterling family's baby, too. Touch her if you dare. I sprang forward with all my force. Just as Cassandra's fingers brushed the bag, I shot through the air and swiped my claws straight across her collar. Ah, Cassandra screamed. My razor-sharp claws shredded the silk scarf wrapped around her neck. The scarf fluttered to the floor. An exquisite sapphire pendant hanging from a delicate chain swung into view. Victoria's eyes widened. The sapphire was flawless, catching the light with breathtaking clarity. But what caught her eye wasn't its quality. It was the tiny chip along the edge. She'd spent nearly $3 million at auction to buy that pendant as Ethan's 30th birthday present. He'd accidentally nicked it not long after receiving it and had been upset for days. Victoria had comforted him, telling him the tiny crack would bring good luck instead. So why was that one-of-a-kind pendant hanging around Cassandra's neck now? Silence swallowed the delivery room. Victoria's breathing became uneven as she stared at the pendant resting against Cassandra's chest. Cassandra? Her voice was icy. Where did you get that pendant? Cassandra's face drained of color. She hurriedly covered it with one hand. I bought a replica, Victoria. Don't get the wrong idea. I just thought it was pretty. Cold sweat beaded across Ethan's forehead. He spun around and pulled Cassandra behind him, shielding her completely. Victoria, are you seriously questioning me? Pain filled his face, his voice trembling with restrained anger. I've spent the last 3 years dedicating myself to this family. I've worked myself to the bone and devoted everything to you. You've barely given birth to our daughter, and now you're doubting me over a cat that's lost its mind and a necklace that merely looks similar? His eyes reddened. The performance was flawless. Cassandra is your best friend. She's been running herself ragged taking care of you, and this is how you repay her? Are you suffering from postpartum depression? Are you imagining things? Victoria's lips trembled, looking at Ethan's wounded expression. Doubt crept into her heart. He'd always treated her so well that she'd never once found fault with him. Just as her resolve began to waver, the imposter baby's voice echoed through my mind again. Daddy's amazing. A few words and he fooled this idiot all over again. Hurry up and get rid of that garbage bag. As long as that little witch dies, I'll be the Sterling family's only heiress. My whole body shook with rage. Backstabbing snakes were treating Victoria like a complete fool. I charged at the garbage bag again, clamping my teeth onto one corner and dragging it across the floor with all my strength. Victoria, don't believe him. Look at the bag. Look at the bag. I scraped noisily across the tiles. Then, through the tear I'd made, the faintest cry finally escaped. Wah, wah. It was barely audible, yet in the deathly silent delivery room, everyone heard it. Victoria's body went rigid. Her eyes widened in disbelief as she stared at the black garbage bag. There was a baby inside. Ethan's face went pale. A flash of malice crossed his eyes before he whirled toward Martha. Martha, what are you standing there for? Get that garbage out of here now. Martha flinched, gripping the handle of the cart so tightly her knuckles turned white as she hurried toward the door. Stop. Victoria threw back the blanket. Blood was still running down her legs, but she didn't seem to notice. I said stop. Didn't you hear me? Martha froze in place, the cart coming to a halt in the doorway. Ethan lunged forward and grabbed Victoria by the shoulders. Victoria, have you lost your mind? You just gave birth. You'll ruin your recovery if you keep this up. As he held her in place, he shot the security guards a meaningful look. That cat's completely out of control. Get a catchpole over him and take him to the vet for a sedative now. The two guards immediately returned with a heavy-duty animal control net and closed in from both sides. I dropped into a defensive crouch, a savage growl rumbling in my throat. Come one step closer, and I'll claw your face off. The nylon net dropped over me. It tightened instantly, the cords biting painfully into my fur and skin. Amid the chaos, I caught Martha turning her back to Victoria. Her hands darted into the black garbage bag. A split second later, she pulled out a tiny, limp bundle and slipped it into a hidden compartment beneath the cart. Victoria shoved Ethan away and stumbled toward the garbage bag. Her trembling hands ripped it open. It was empty. There was nothing but blood-soaked gauze and discarded medical waste. Victoria froze. Ethan let out a quiet breath of relief. The darkness in his eyes vanished as quickly as it had appeared, replaced by a look of heartbreaking concern. He walked over and gently wrapped an arm around Victoria's shoulders. Victoria, do you see now? There's nothing inside except medical waste. Your hormones are all over the place after giving birth. You're imagining things. Hearing that, Victoria finally stopped resisting. She let Ethan help her back onto the bed. I'm sorry, Ethan. I was just so scared. Maybe something really is wrong with me. Ethan tucked the blanket around her with practiced tenderness. It's okay, sweetheart. Get some sleep. Everything will be fine when you wake up. The imposter cooed happily from the nanny's arms. Haha, everyone in the Sterling family is a bunch of idiots. This multi-billion-dollar empire is as good as mine. Meanwhile, From the hidden compartment beneath the cart, the rightful heiress's voice had grown so faint it was barely there. Cat, God, am I going to the stars now? It's so dark. I'm so sleepy. Mommy, goodbye. No. I refused to let these two parasites destroy the girl I'd protected for over a decade. And I absolutely refused to let my precious munchkin die beneath that cart before she'd even had the chance to see the world. Meow, out of my way. A deafening roar erupted from my throat as my vision turned crimson. Every muscle in my hind legs coiled before exploding with terrifying force. Reap. The reinforced net tore apart. Before anyone could react, I launched myself like a cannonball and slammed headfirst into the solid steel base of the cart. Crack. The sound of splintering bone rang out. At the same instant, the steel gave way. The cart flipped into the air before crashing heavily onto the floor, and the hidden compartment underneath burst open. From the impact, a tiny baby, her skin already turning purple, her eyes tightly shut, rolled out onto the floor and came to rest at Victoria's bedside. Victoria stared at the tiny infant lying on the floor. Her world stopped. My baby. The delivery room erupted. A second baby. Where did that child come from? Oh my God. She's not breathing. The rightful little heiress whimpered weakly inside my head. Mommy? I knew exactly 3 things. 1. She was alive. 2. She had about the complexion of an overripe eggplant. 3. If someone didn't pick her up in the next 5 seconds, I was going to start biting ankles. Mia. I screamed so loudly that half the nurses nearly dropped their clipboards. Victoria lunged off the bed before anyone could stop her. My daughter. She scooped the tiny baby into her arms. The moment the little girl felt her mother's warmth, the frightened voice in my head burst into tears. Mommy found me. Mommy smells just like the cat. I'm saved. I puffed on my chest. That's right. Credit where it was due. I had done approximately 98% of the work. A pediatrician rushed over. She's suffering from oxygen deprivation. Clear the airway. Within seconds, the room transformed into organized chaos. A nurse suctioned the baby's mouth. Another rubbed her tiny back. Then, wah wah. A loud, healthy cry echoed through the suite. Every doctor visibly relaxed. I collapsed dramatically onto the floor. Mission accomplished. Someone bring me tuna. Victoria clutched the crying infant so tightly tears streamed down her face. My baby. My baby. She looked at the child Ethan had been carrying, then back at the one in her arms. Why are there 2? Silence. Utter. Complete. Silence. Even the fake baby stopped gurgling. Inside my head she panicked. Wait. Why am I over there? Why is she over here? This isn't how the script goes. Martha's legs gave out beneath her. Thud. She hit the floor. I can explain. Oh. Victoria said quietly. No, I thought. She absolutely cannot. Ethan reacted first. There must have been a misunderstanding. The fake baby's thoughts exploded. Daddy, don't say misunderstanding. Say medical accident. Medical accident sounds expensive. Misunderstanding sounds like prison. I almost choked trying not to laugh. A newborn was already giving legal advice. Impressive. Terrifying. Victoria slowly lifted her eyes. They found my newborn, inside a hidden compartment, beneath a garbage cart. Her voice became calmer with every word. Dangerously calmer. And your explanation is a misunderstanding? Ethan opened his mouth. Nothing came out. For the first time in 12 years. I'd seen the man blue screen. Cassandra suddenly pointed at Martha. It was her. We don't know what she was thinking. I've never seen that compartment before. The fake baby immediately screamed in my head. Traitor. She sold you out in under 3 seconds. Friendship speedrun, any %. Even I had to admire the efficiency. Martha burst into hysterical sobs. They paid me. I didn't want to. They said nobody would ever know. The room froze. Victoria's fingers tightened around her daughter. They. Martha pointed with a shaking finger. Straight. At Ethan. Then, at Cassandra. The delivery room collectively inhaled. Even the security guard slowly backed away from Ethan like he'd suddenly become radioactive. Ethan's face darkened. She's lying. I've never met this woman outside of today. The fake baby snorted inside my head. Daddy, you've literally called her by her first name 6 times. You're really bad at crime. I buried my face in my paws. Honestly, the villains in this family had the strategic planning skills of wet cardboard. Just then, another tiny voice drifted into my mind. It belonged to the real baby nestled safely in Victoria's arms. Mommy's heartbeat. It's warm. Cat God. Thank you. My ears twitched. Cat God? You know what? I'll allow it. After all, I'd ripped apart a reinforced net, body slammed a hospital cart, exposed an affair, uncovered a baby swap, and accidentally became a divine feline in under 10 minutes. Honestly, Tuesday in the Sterling family was exhausting. Unfortunately for Ethan, the universe had decided he'd already used up his daily quota of luck. The real heiress suddenly sneezed. Achoo! A tiny, adorable, milk-drunk sneeze. Then her little voice echoed into my mind. That felt better. Mommy's hugging me. I'm never letting go. Victoria hugged her even tighter, tears dripping onto the baby's forehead. My little girl. Ethan took one careful step forward. Victoria, let me hold. Hisses. I planted myself directly between his shoes and Victoria's hospital bed. One paw lifted. Claws out. Try me. He wisely reconsidered his life choices. The pediatrician frowned as he examined both infants. That's odd. Everyone looked over. The doctor pointed at the imposter baby. This child is unusually clean. What? He blinked. Babies delivered naturally don't usually look like they've just finished a luxury spa treatment. A nurse nodded. She's already wearing lotion. Another nurse leaned closer. And is that baby perfume? The room fell silent. I stared. The fake baby thought smugly. Mom spent 45 minutes getting me camera ready. Branding is important. I had no words. Even newborns had influencers now. The doctor then examined Victoria's real daughter. This one has bruising consistent with being stuffed into a confined space. Victoria's expression cracked. Someone had literally thrown her newborn into the trash. The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Cassandra suddenly tried edging toward the door. Very slowly. Very casually. Like a crab escaping sideways. Unfortunately, cats have excellent peripheral vision. Oh no you don't. I sprinted across the room. She squeaked. I leaped. Thump. I latched onto the back of her expensive designer skirt with all four paws. Ryup. The skirt split clean down the middle. Cassandra shrieked. My skirt. The fake baby groaned inside my head. Seriously? The cat always goes for maximum embarrassment. It's like he's unionized. Half the nurses immediately looked away. The other half absolutely did not. One even whispered, I'm going to remember this forever. Cassandra desperately tried running. She forgot one small detail. Designer high heels. On polished hospital floors. Her first step slid. Her second step crossed over itself. Her third step never happened. Wah. She pinwheeled dramatically before landing flat on her backside. Slap. Even I winced. That had to hurt. A nurse coughed into her fist. Perfect 10. Another quietly held up a clipboard. 9.8. The tension shattered. Even one of the security guards snorted. Ethan rubbed his temples. This isn't helping. Oh, I disagree, I thought. This is helping my mental health tremendously. Then, ding. The elevator doors outside opened. A booming voice echoed down the hallway. Where is my granddaughter? Every member of the Sterling family recognized that voice instantly. Victoria's grandfather. The old chairman himself. Behind him marched Victoria's parents, 3 uncles, 2 terrifying aunts, 4 lawyers, and an elderly family butler who looked like he'd personally judged kings. The fake baby's thoughts became pure static. Wait, why are the final bosses here already? I slowly grinned. Well, as much as a cat can grin, the cavalry had arrived. And judging by the looks on their faces, someone was about to discover that the Sterling family didn't solve problems with shouting. They solved them with lawyers. Lots and lots of lawyers. The delivery room door slammed open so hard it bounced off the wall. Victoria. Chairman Sterling strode in first, silver hair immaculate, walking stick in one hand. He wasn't using it for support. It was for emphasis. One sharp tap. The entire room went silent. Tap, tap, tap. His sharp eyes swept across the room. His daughter lying pale in bed. A purple-faced newborn in her arms. Another baby in the nanny's arms. A shredded animal control net. A flipped medical cart. A crying maternity attendant. A disheveled Cassandra clutching what remained of her skirt. And me, sitting proudly on top of the destroyed cart like a victorious orange loaf. He blinked once. I leave for 40 minutes. And somehow the cat is winning. I puffed out my chest. Finally, someone appreciated my hard work. Victoria burst into tears the moment she saw her grandfather. Grandpa. He hurried to her bedside. What happened? Victoria looked at Ethan. Then at Cassandra. Finally at the baby in her arms. They tried to throw my daughter away. The old man's face froze. His expression became frighteningly blank. Unfortunately for Ethan, everyone in Evermont knew that Chairman Sterling only wore that expression immediately before someone lost a company. Or a continent. He slowly turned toward Ethan. My grandson-in-law. Ethan forced a smile. Grandpa, there's been an enormous misunderstanding. The fake baby's thoughts immediately chimed in. Abort mission. Abort mission. Grandpa wasn't supposed to unlock this level yet. Chairman Sterling ignored him. Instead, he looked toward Martha. You. Tell me. No interruptions. Martha collapsed to her knees. They paid me. I swear they paid me. Cassandra approached me months ago. She said the Sterling family would never know. She promised me $10 million. I only had to swap the babies. I wasn't supposed to leave the real baby in the cart that long. I thought someone would take her out. The room became so quiet you could hear the heart monitor beeping. Beep, beep, beep. Chairman Sterling spoke only one sentence. Record everything. The 4 lawyers behind him immediately pulled out their phones and notebooks. One even produced a portable scanner. Lawyers were terrifying creatures. Even I respected them. Cassandra screamed. She's lying. I never offered her anything. Martha pointed with trembling fingers. The money came from Ethan. Ethan exploded. You idiot. The words slipped out before he realized what he'd said. Everyone stared. His face slowly drained of color. I mean, idiot for lying. Too late. One of the lawyers quietly whispered. Noted. Another underlined something 3 times. The fake baby's tiny voice groaned. Daddy. Rule number 1. Never call your accomplice an idiot in front of lawyers. Honestly, I'm surrounded by amateurs. Just then, a nurse hurried over carrying a tablet. Chairman Sterling, we've recovered the maternity ward security footage. Ethan's pupils shrank. Cassandra stopped breathing. Even Martha looked hopeful. The nurse hesitated. Someone disabled one hallway camera. But she tapped the screen. The nursery camera was still recording. Everyone crowded around. The video played. Crystal clear. Martha carried Victoria's newborn into the nursery. A few seconds later, Cassandra entered wearing a nurse's coat. She wasn't supposed to be there. She carefully removed one baby, placed another into the bassinet, then smiled directly at the camera, before giving it a cheerful little thumbs up. The entire room stared in disbelief. I covered my face with one paw. Why? Why would you thumbs up the evidence? The fake baby sighed dramatically inside my head. Mom always said confidence is everything. She misunderstood. She thought confidence meant acknowledging surveillance cameras. Chairman Sterling slowly removed his glasses. Oh, that's convenient. He handed the tablet to the nearest lawyer. No one is leaving. He turned toward the trembling security guards. You too. The guards straightened. Yes, Chairman. Lock the door. The heavy electronic lock clicked. Ethan glanced toward the only exit. Locked. Toward the windows. Sealed. Toward the furious Sterling family. Very much not sealed. I stretched luxuriously across the doorway, just in case. After all, if anyone was escaping this room, they'd have to get past the world's fluffiest underworld employee first. Within the hour, the hospital was swarming with police officers, detectives, and Sterling family lawyers. The nursery footage, bank transfers, phone records, and Martha's confession fit together almost perfectly. Martha admitted she had been promised $10 million to switch the babies. Cassandra had recruited her. Ethan had financed everything. The motive was simple. Ethan had secretly been having an affair with Cassandra for years. Their biological daughter had been born through a surrogate just weeks earlier. If the Sterling heiress accidentally died after the swap, Cassandra's daughter would inherit the Sterling fortune while Victoria spent the rest of her life believing she'd lost her child. Unfortunately for them, they hadn't accounted for one very angry orange cat. The fake baby suddenly burst into tears. Daddy, Mommy, save me. A police officer gently took her from the nanny. We'll arrange emergency protective custody until her biological family is identified. The baby's thoughts immediately changed. Wait, no billion-dollar inheritance? No private islands? No gold-plated litter robot for the cat? I blinked. Why would I want a gold-plated litter box? That sounded cold. Victoria quietly looked at the little girl. Despite everything, she sighed. She's innocent. She's just a baby. Make sure she's cared for. The fake baby froze. She isn't throwing me away? After everything? For the first time, there wasn't arrogance in her thoughts. Only confusion. Meanwhile, Ethan was being handcuffed. Victoria, he shouted desperately. I did love you. Victoria didn't even look at him. You loved my last name. Click. The handcuffs closed. As officers led Cassandra away, she suddenly pointed at me. It's that cat. Everything went wrong because of that stupid cat. Every eye turned toward me. I was busy licking one paw. I refused to acknowledge the allegations. One detective scratched his head. Are we really writing, Orange Cat disrupted kidnapping in the report? Another shrugged. It's technically accurate. Chairman Sterling smiled for the first time all day. Give Marmalade a lifetime supply of treats. I sat bolt upright. Now that was justice. 3 months later, Victoria officially divorced Ethan. Every asset he had gained through the marriage was frozen, while the courts sorted out the fraud. Cassandra and Martha were both charged for their roles in the baby swap conspiracy. The Sterling family welcomed the real little heiress home with enough toys to open a small department store. As for me, I was promoted. Not to CEO. Not to chairman. Something far more prestigious. Chief Baby Inspector. Every morning, I inspected the crib. Every afternoon, I inspected the bottles. Every evening, I inspected whether the baby had dropped any food on the floor. Purely for safety reasons, of course. The little heiress, now a chubby 3-month-old, giggled whenever she saw me. In my head her cheerful voice rang out every day. Cat God. Up, up. Victoria would laugh and place her on the rug beside me. The baby would immediately grab my tail with both hands. I had fought underworld demons for 3 centuries. Yet somehow, the strongest creature I'd ever encountered weighed 12 pounds and drooled on my ears. I accepted my fate.